Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
What's going on? Happy Monday to you. Let's get this thing popping. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. Welcome back from the weekend and a short week this week. For those of you who are going to be celebrating Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's right. All the rest of you who are celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. Okay, I guess you do. Enjoy the holiday. Whatever you're going to call it, okay? Just whatever you're going to do. Just be with family. Be with love. And we'll see you when you get back. Whatever you're doing, all right? Have at it. Let me just make an announcement for those of you who are looking. It's like, what's going on with Facebook? Sorry. I can't control it. If the servers are screwed up, the servers are screwed up. You can go to my X account. Just look up Reese on the radio. The show's there live, and you can chat there if you want to. There's also YouTube as well. Also Twitch, I think, if you want to go there. Or you could go directly to ReeseOnTheRadio.com, and you can watch there and chat, and I'll see your comments there. I don't like it when it happens. I can't control it because I can't go live until I go live. And then when I go live and find out it's not working, I have no control of it. I'm not the IT guy at the streaming service. So as it goes, it's Monday. It's what happens. We had a very busy weekend this weekend, Roseanne and I. There's so many places that we went, so many people we saw. We were at the Little Manchester Road Race. As you can see, I've got my T-shirt on, which actually I like this color. I'm not really a big yellow guy, but this T-shirt is well put together. And when I say well put together, I mean colors and schemes and all that stuff. So I really like this shirt. This one, we're going to make this one a permanent member of the show. By the way, we got Salvation Army coming with some T-shirts as well because we're doing the holiday store next month. Really excited about that. Had a meeting today sort of getting some of the framework of what they're doing for the holiday store this year. I can't wait because this is really my official debut with the holiday store. And there's so many things that they want to do that I want to do, and I know that you want to do. So we're going to figure that stuff out. Roland, let me ask you this. If I could get you on the mic for a second. I'm throwing this at you. I didn't say anything to you about it. Roseanne and I were talking this weekend, and we had an idea. Because WTIC or Odyssey overall doesn't do internships anymore. We used to. Radio stations used to do them all the time. But we don't have the budgets for it anymore, right?
Is that a question?
Yeah. We don't have budgets
we don't have budget for anything. The budget is gone.
But I had an idea. Roseanne and I were talking about this last night over dinner. Yeah. So we went to Wooden Tap, and we were talking about this, and I thought this would be a great idea. When I was 15, I wanted to be in radio. And every kid I've ever met in high school has thought about being on radio. They just don't know anything about it. So we were thinking we could do at least maybe twice a month, even once a month during the school year. We could have kids who either are in their school newspaper or do some, like those kids. What's the video news that they do? Like it was in the Spider-Man movie. Remember the two kids that do, news for the school.
The morning.
Yeah, the morning sort of the morning alert or whatever the thing is that they do. It's like a morning memo. I think it's something like that. And they talk about the events that are going on in school. Those kids are looking for careers in broadcasting. So I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if the kids get an opportunity to have their friends listen to them, come in and do like after school, come in and talk about some of the news going on in their school, and they can talk about it to the entire Hartford 50,000-watt arena. And it would also encourage young people to listen to WTIC. So that, they're not just listening, to the bebopping, snapping the fingers, stomping the feet, hip-hop, R&B, bang, bang, shoot 'em up, rapper die slow music. I'm just saying. No?
I mean, it's a intriguing idea.
Okay.
Just got to get all the logistics right.
Yeah, I think so. I think that it's something that, especially if you have teachers who are teaching either journalism or media stuff in high school. A lot of these schools have them. I mean, I would imagine they are in Connecticut.
They I know they do something similar at right there, right in the next parking lot over.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. So.
Okay. And not only that, we also know that Connecticut is famous for the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
There you go.
So why wouldn't the kids like sort of not even a trial by fire, but just an opportunity to get their feet wet, trying out the radio stuff? They can come on here and I can say, Bobby, read the news of, winds are high, and he can.
But what would that, so they're just gaining experience. It's not like for credit or anything.
Yeah, with nothing for credit. We'll just give them an opportunity. The beauty of it is one, their classmates can hear their school being represented by him or her, or even a team. I think it should be two kids that come in, and they sit down and they spend like the last 2 hours seeing what the show is like, how the show is conducted, get sort of a behind the scenes thing, and then put them on the air to talk about some. Hey, Bobby is here from such and such school. What are some of the news items going on in school? And they can sit here and sort of broadcast themselves. And I can ask them questions about the school and about those news items, things like that. I thought it would be a great idea just for them to get the exposure. Plus, we're getting young people involved in broadcasting.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I would...
Your enthusiasm is overwhelming.
Well, it's technically your idea. So
yeah, I know, but I'm just like, you're a producer.
No, I'm just thinking about when ideas pop up. First thing I do is thinking about like how is it gonna get done?
Yeah.
And what steps do I need to take to make it happen?
You're automatically thinking about legal, corporate, and and logistics.
And logistics. Most importantly, logistics.
Yeah, logistics are the most important thing. So anyway, it's an idea. I know a lot of people who are in, teachers and administrators. They listen to the show. I hear from them all the time. And I thought it'd be a good opportunity, and I'll talk to some people here and see how we could get something like that. One of the things, I'll tell you why I'm
just thinking what the best thing they get out of it.
Right.
What would be the best thing they would get from it? I know it's experience and doing the, but is that all they would get from it?
Well, an interesting thing we could do, and I think this would be beneficial for them, is a lot of these kids want to get into journalism or get into media, and they don't have what we call in the business an EPK, which is called an electronic press kit. And this would be an opportunity for their teachers to catch them on film with the flag of WTIC, and creators like, here's, Bobby on WTIC, reading news and stuff like that. This stuff they can use later on. College applications. A good opportunity for them to do that.
Okay, so they get a couple headshots, put together a little demo reel. And,
exactly.
All right, they're on their way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's beneficial. And let me tell you why I came up with the idea. Because, so we go to the Little Manchester Road Race.
Yep.
And we're there. And, of course, Brian Shackman's there, and we start talking. He's asking me, like, how's the show going and, what some of the things that we've got coming up and things he's working on. And he said it, and I know it's important to him as it is with me. He says, we got to get younger. Like, that's important to what we do here. We got to get younger.
Yeah.
And
a lot of old,
of course.
Heads.
And it's nothing against our older audience. You guys brought us to the dance. We get that. But we do have to be new and innovative, because if we get those young listeners, we'll have them for 10, 20, if not 30 years. Because I know so many people talk about who call this show all the time and say, I remember driving in the car with my dad listening to WTIC, and when I got older, I listened. So now it's an opportunity to get those young kids. Sure, they might move away. Some of them will stay. But if they have a relationship with this station and their friends have a relationship with the station, and especially with me, kind of a wild, crazy, off-the-cuff sort of, news talk program, they can understand that talk radio is not stuffy, that it isn't, all, stiff, collared, and boring.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was before I actually started listening to it, and before I applied for the job. Right. I actually took the whole month before, my interview, and to actually listen to the station and see what it was all about. Then there was a lot of things that I was interested in, so I was like, okay, this is nowhere near what I thought it was.
Exactly.
It's something totally different.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying, as far as the schools can represent their students and represent the station at the same time by, telling everybody, hey, such and such, your schoolmate is going to be on WTIC on this day or that day. Listen in. The kids will be tuning in, who know those kids will be there, and they'll listen to the program, see that, oh, man, this AM talk show stuff, that's not corny at all. They have fun over there.
Yeah, you're going to have a line of kids after.
Exactly.
Waiting to
I want to go too. Right, exactly. And that's the sort of, I always say that that little, nugget that you give to those kids will, because a lot of kids don't know the avenues in which to go, or they even know that these opportunities are available to them. I think that we as a radio station can sort of because I think it's beneficial. Here's where I think it's beneficial. It's not just beneficial to kids who don't know that this avenue is open, but it's also beneficial to us as radio people. When a lot of people think radio is dead, or AM radio or talk radio is dead, if we can reinvigorate people into this medium, it keeps it alive. Yeah. We have got to be able to share what we do here with the masses, as many people as we can, because if we can reintroduce it to them in a different way, imagine what people in this industry will realize. It's like, wait a minute, they found a way to reach the kids, and everybody's doing it. Right, and we don't lose a generation. We don't fade into the abyss. It's so funny, because we almost had that happen. Do you remember that policy? It was some Congress effort to take AM radios out of cars. Remember that?
Cars,
yeah. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like, there was a real effort to sort of that was going to end us. I mean, if you really think about it. That was an opportunity to take us out.
Yeah, they were saying we're not worth it. That's why.
Exactly. And that's what we need to, in every day in every way, we have to be able to reinvent the wheel, if you will, in this market. And when Brian brought that up, Roseanne and I was just sitting there talking about it. It's like, what are some of the things that we could do? And I thought this would probably be the easiest way to get that audience engaged and get those kids engaged in something they never thought possible. They're probably trying. You know what medium's dying? Print media, dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of local
everything
news.
Digital.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the only one that's got an opportunity to thrive. It goes up and down. It ebbs and flows. But if the kids know that this is an opportunity for them, imagine what we could do. We can really, forge a pathway for people in Connecticut, if not other sister stations, to say, hey, that's a good idea. And again, it benefits both. It gets those kids engaged, and it keeps us relevant, in my view.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay, good.
Some things got to start somewhere, and that can branch off to a whole Odyssey movement too.
Exactly.
But you gotta make it successful here first.
Exactly. I think I can. Yeah, I think with these kids, if they're laughing and they're engaging and they get the idea that this is not corny and it's not out of their realm. They get to sort of, kind of identify with their grandparents who are listening already. That would be an interesting sort of turn for this medium. So
I brought my daughter here on a Friday.
Yeah.
To just watch me, and she was very interested to the point where, actually, it was my daughter and my wife. She caught on to when I was going to commercial breaks, when I would talk on the radio, when I put my headphones on, like she had it down pat to the point where my wife was talking in the background, and she's like, shh. When he grabs the headphones, that means he's going on air. You got to be quiet. You can't say anything.
Right.
When he puts it down, and then you see him hit the button, then you can start talking again. And I was like, oh, okay, she's paying attention.
So that's what I'm saying. So once, I'm telling you, I'll never forget when Caleb was 16, my son. I took him to WRKO. I took him to the studio, and I had him answering phones. I had him call screen. And all I did was tell the audience, hey, you want to talk to my son? And I gave him the telephone number. The phones lit up, and he was just talking to people. It was like, hey, your dad talks about you all the time. Immediately, the next, 2 weeks, he was out on the street going to protests and getting news reports to come in and with his friends and actually report on the air what he saw. And stayed on the air with me for about 2 hours. It was great. It was fantastic. And it happens every time. When the kids get inside the studio, they all, out of nowhere, they get the itch. And they're like, I think I could do this. And that's kind of like, I kind of feel like the same way when I took him to Yankee Stadium for the first time, like the old Yankee Stadium. The first thing he did when he went through the tunnel and he saw the field, still takes my breath away when he does it. But he walked up there and he went, wow. And I took him to his first baseball game, first Yankee Stadium game, and he goes, wow, that took me, I reached Mount Everest in that moment.
He was impressed.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what I want to inspire with a younger generation. I think it's beneficial to us and to them. So anyway, we got to take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. We got to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene when we return. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
Hey, now, we are back. Reese on the radio, WTIC, News Talk 1080. Look, I want everybody to know, if you're listening, especially, throughout the building and everywhere, I really do think that one of the biggest problems that we have nowadays is the disconnect there is with younger audiences or just younger people, even in our own lives. And I'll tell you, I hear this a lot because Roseanne and I go to AC Peterson a lot. And there are a lot of young people there. Oh, the kids that are there who go to the ice cream parlor. We've never experienced anything like that. Where Roseanne and I grew up, we never experienced that. We went to the arcade, but going to the ice cream parlor is so 1950s to me. And it's still happening, and these kids are there. They're going to get milkshakes and ice cream, and they're all there, gangs of them. Good kids, not even troublemakers. Good kids, wholesome kids. Going there and doing that, and Roseanne and I are sitting there just going, we've never experienced this. This wasn't our thing. And as older people, they are looking at us, and they say things like, yes, ma'am, and yes, sir, and when they try to get your attention, sir, can you pass that? Thank you. And I immediately feel old, or they give the impression that you can't really, talk to an older person. And I get it. Respect your elders. I get that. But the communication thing sort of almost seems apprehensive at best. And the young people there, like young lady who works there who we love. By the way, you'll be happy to know this, Roland. The young lady who works there, her name is Layla. She's 20 years old. She's about to go off to college. She was going to go to an HBCU. What's it? HBCU? She is going to LSU. Yeah, she's going to LSU because of her relationship with Roseanne and I. In a month, she was talking to us about going to HBCU, and we told her, it's like, the graduation rates are not that great. And she goes, well, I got an opportunity to go to a good school. And I'm like, which one are you going to, were you thinking about? And she goes, I really have thought about going to LSU. And I went, oh, wow. And we were talking to her last night, and she goes, I made my decision. I'm going to go to LSU. I was like, did you apply? She goes, no, I was accepted. I went, oh, you got to go. I said, I can't wait to tell my producer when I get into work tomorrow.
That's what you should have led the show off with.
Really? Oh, well, yeah, because for you.
It's the greatest school in the country.
Yes, I know. You really love LSU. But that's what I'm talking about. It's like that influence. Like, she considers Roseanne and I like an aunt and uncle to her. Like, when we see her, she comes in, gives us a hug. When we leave, bye, love you guys. We've only known her a month. And that relationship for me is like, that's like gangbusters. I'm like, imagine the kind of impact we could have on a lot of, I mean, in this medium alone, we could have a lot of impact on kids who don't even know that this is, this is an opportunity for them. So that's what I was sort of inspired by Layla, who is such a smart girl, such a nice girl. And the kids over at AC Peterson, every one of those kids always got a smile on their face. It takes me back to a day that's beyond my, youth.
It's ice cream, man.
It's ice cream,
it's
yeah.
Ice cream.
But they're so nice and they're so helpful and they're so positive. And it's a fun place to be. And I'm so proud of the kids that work there. So proud of them. And I don't know them. And I sing their praises. That's why we go. We're there almost. I want to say we go there at least 3 to 4 times a week. We end up there.
I was just about to ask you, how many times a week are you going? And you eating ice cream every time?
No. We'll go there. Like, if it's at night, yes. We'll go there and get ice cream. We'll get the apple crisp with the apple pie. Okay. If we go there at night. Like, we'll eat dinner somewhere else, but we won't have dessert at that restaurant. Like, we went to Wooden Tap. We would not have dessert there because we were going to AC Peterson. So we're driving all the way from Wooden Tap to go all the way to West Hartford to go get ice cream there. And we did that last night. And so we just really love that place because of the youthfulness of it. It's fun. Like I said, the staff there is great. And every time we walk in there, it's nice to sort of like be Norm from Cheers. They wave and they're like, hey. And and Layla is excited when we show up. She's like, hey, what's up, guys? And she runs up to her, gives us a hug. And the rest of the crowd is, always pleasant. And it's just one of those things I said, you know what? We do have an opportunity to reach kids. Not that these are a bunch of troubled kids, but we have an opportunity to reach them and sort of guide them. And I want to kind of take that opportunity. Yeah. When Brian brought that up, I was just like, we can do that. We can't just look at it and just go, how, and like spin our wheels. We really have an opportunity here.
So what's the next step?
I don't know. I got to talk to, obviously we have a meeting with Janine tomorrow.
Yeah.
I want to talk. I think we're going to lead with that and talk to her and see how we can get it done. What level of participation we can get from schools that do broadcasting. And, of course, if you know a school that's got broadcasting, media, or any of that who might be interested, get in touch with us here.
I remember I did a Stop the Violence tour in Connecticut.
Really?
And I was going from school to school, and then some guy gave me an insight. They had me go, I believe it's in Rocky Hill.
Yeah.
And talk to a particular person, and they had to drop for all the schools. So I gave him the info, and he dropped it from his location, and it spread out to all the schools.
Yeah.
So that's an option.
We can ask Brian if he wants to be a part of it, because that would be great for him too. Early morning before the kids go to school. That would be cool. I mean, like I said, we can make it a whole station thing. Tag teaming. Yeah, it'd be great. Anyway, let me get to the phones real quick. Tom in Thomaston, what's up, buddy?
Oh, hey, Reese. I thought maybe you'd take me after you talked about Green. Can I make a comment on her, or you want to wait till after you do your stuff?
Yeah, after I do my thing on the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing. Give me a holler back.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thanks, man. And Steven's in Waterbury. How are you, Steve?
Oh, hey, good. I did a Stop the Violence thing, and I got mugged.
Stevie V's a mess. What's up, man?
Well, hey, listen, I worked with a lot of kids over the years, and I'd ask them things like what they want to do for career. You know what the number one thing was, actually?
Oh, please tell me.
It was forensics crime because of all the TV shows and stuff.
Really?
Influenced by that. A lot of them wanted to go into the military. A lot of different degrees and stuff. A few things there. It was funny because I know a lot of kids are conservative in the area that I was in.
Yeah.
It's interesting that, like when I was just having this conversation with an old neighbor who's down south now, but, when people moved away even like a few miles, we kind of lost touch. Now these kids are all in touch from town to town with cell phones and everything else. But, if you look at kids that want to go into journalism,
mm-hmm.
if you look at, like young conservatives, you may want to try touching base with. There's a group in Connecticut, I guess they're like young Republicans or whatever.
Yeah.
That might be a place to try reaching out to for your audience base and maybe getting some input from what they're thinking at their age. And I guess the group is basically anywhere from like 18 to 40.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that would be good demographics for it. There's one interesting thing that kind of blew my mind. It was a great kid. You first told me about Facebook and MySpace at that time. I didn't even know what they were, whatever. So you got happy to be on it, right? I was just going back years ago, right? So I just happened to bring up something. I heard something on NPR and how they were giving public radio and talking about like a giveaway a mug or something.
Right.
I said, how would you like that? He said, I'd love to have that, man. I guess it wasn't exactly towards the right very far, but
I think, anyway. I really do believe, in my heart of hearts, I really do believe that this medium, when kids walk in, it's sort of like this. It's like walking into a space you've never seen before or you've only seen on television. And when kids walk in and they see the microphones and they see the production booth, they see the boards, they immediately, the interest is immediate. It is so, it's either intimidating or enticing, right? Because I've seen these kids walk in and be like, I'm in a real radio studio, this is what goes on in here. And then they get the bug and it's easy. Like I said with Caleb, my son, he got the bug. He had never done it before. And as soon as he sat down, even in the production booth where Roland is, to sit by the phones and screen phone calls of the people. Of course, every kid has heard a radio station where they take in call-ins. But for him to be in charge of those calls coming in, that was sort of like, I was like, hey, do you want to be call screener today? He was like, in a minute. I mean, he jumped at it. And
awesome.
All I did was say, hey, you want to talk to Caleb? Call up now. And the phone lines didn't stop for hours just to talk to him.
Cool.
And I think that's sort of like where I want to kind of go with this, because I know that once they get the opportunity, they will never let go of it.
Hey, two more things.
Yeah.
Really quick. I was saying, well, first of all, do you talk to Kid Fresh at all?
I see him all the time. Walks right past me.
Oh, awesome. He's a great guy. And, I don't know him really well, but we used to travel in the same circle there.
Oh, okay.
Have some refreshments together from time to time. So, he's a good guy. Anyways, one of the things I think that they should do in school is talk about, different careers and say, hey, this is a plumber. And this is somebody who owns a plumber thing, and guess what? They live next door to this doctor. They live next to the lawyer or whatever. And if they know, because when you're young, you don't have a great concept of money. That's why kids don't shut off the lights. They do all kinds of different things. I want.
Yep.
But, once they come to the realization that, as I think you mentioned before, they get a paycheck and all of a sudden, it's getting taken out for taxes, et cetera. It's like, where's my money going? And they start buying their own stuff. But, I mean, so many young kids, especially people that might be in, the neighborhoods that are, from a family that's not so well off or whatever, if they could see the incentive and why it's good to learn and why to go into a certain area, whether it's a trade or whatever, I think it'd be very beneficial. And I did tell you I want to talk about an idea for education with you sometime if we ever.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, you know what? We got it. I know how to get in touch with you. You and I will sit down and talk about that, because I want to do something really, really big, really, really soon. It's going to have to be after the holiday. But I mean, when I say I want to hit January, on the ground running, and I have 9 different stories that I'm working on now to start after the holiday.
Okay, I got this week off. I got 2 days off after Christmas I'm taking.
Okay.
And a few more days. But listen, if you put up the spotlight, make sure it's not the bat signal. We're always getting confused with that.
Not a problem, buddy. Thank you, man.
Okay, brother.
You got it. So, yeah, I really do think that this will work. I really do. I've got some ideas. Anyway, if you can't find us on Facebook today, my apologies. Just go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. The show is broadcasting there, or you could go to my X account at Reese on the Radio. Just look up Reese on the Radio. You'll find it there. All right, we'll be back. Stand by. More news, more views. It's Reese on the Radio.
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, when we come back, we will talk about, of course, headlines. Stupidest thing I've read today. There, of course, been some breaking news in the beginning of the show about James Comey, Leticia James, and, of course, over the weekend, the big news about Marjorie Taylor Greene. We'll get into all of that. Plus, we've got news elsewhere. We've got to talk about Chris Murphy, what he said a month ago about his job here in Connecticut and Dick Blumenthal. You may not have heard about this, but I'm going to play that audio. I promised last weekend I was going to play it, but I forgot to. So I'm going to play it today because many of us have been asking the questions, why is Chris Murphy touring the country? Well, it turns out he was on a little-known podcast and gave an answer to that, and we have it. So we'll play that for you as well, which will, I think, in my view, will solidify exactly what's wrong with this guy. I did, by the way, I talked to someone in news, and they said something very interesting about Chris Murphy. And I don't like rumors. I like going to the source. So, like, when someone gives me a rumor about a person, I go right to their face, and I go, hey, I heard that you're kind of a jerk. I will do that. So, anyway, so the person I was talking to is very credible, and a nice enough guy, wouldn't have lied about anything in this regard. And it turns out that Chris Murphy is not really liked by a lot of people. And I thought people who were saying that online on my Facebook page and on X, I thought they were just kidding. But their view, according to this news guy, is that he is incredibly angry. And according to this individual, said that it really played in his personal life, that the anger and the vitriol from Chris Murphy may have played a role in his personal life. And I was just asking for examples. I couldn't help but dig as the person was talking about it. I didn't want to give the impression like I was kind of get information, but I was like, I mean, do you mean like in his family? And it was like, oh, yeah. And it was just, damn. I was like, really? So, I mean, according to this person, or at least the way that they're suggesting, in a way that other people are suggesting, that the relationship went left because Chris Murphy became increasingly not unhinged, but unreasonable and just angry all the time. And they say that his personality is that of a very angry person. And I see it. I listen to the way that he talks and he communicates. He is like a dog with a bone when it comes to Donald Trump. But it's fantasy on his part. What I mean by that is I think that he believes that Donald Trump is his arch enemy. And Donald Trump is not aware. Like, he didn't get the memo. Like, there's no invite that Chris Murphy is. And maybe that's a part of his anger management. You know how they give you what they used to give you, the squishy toy, you know, that you had to squish in your hand when you were upset, or your stress ball, you know, you had to squeeze that. And they probably put like Donald Trump's face on it. I think Donald Trump is Chris Murphy's squishy toy. Sorry, it just sounded funny when I said it. And that's how he's getting out of all of his anger out. He's directing at Donald Trump. Rah, 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 rah. I think that's how he copes with his like internal anger. He just focuses all of it on Trump, and every day it's a new Trump indictment and accusation. And he wakes up in the morning, he's in a bad mood. And he's all grumpy. Chris, what's wrong? Trump. Hey, Chris, are you doing a press conference today? Yeah, Trump is always a threat to democracy. I don't know. Maybe that's just what it is. I couldn't tell you. But yeah, so this person telling me he's just got a lot of anger. Maybe, I don't know. I told you guys when he said that nonsense about, picking a blank inside and Donald Trump is at the center of a child sex ring. I told you. These are the actions. You guys mark my words. Guys, keep thinking I'm playing here. That day's going to come when the rubber room is going to have that guy's name on it. People are going to be pulled. It's like, hey, man, you want to, come on. Let's have a talk. He does. He needs a sponsor. I think he does. I think he needs help. Maybe not therapy. I just think he needs a friend. Jim Himes, what are you doing? Are you talking to him? You giving him a holler? Is anybody picking up the phone? Please, whatever you do, Larson, do not call Chris Murphy. All we need is you yelling, too. Chris Murphy, you need to calm down. I don't want you doing that. You'll only rile him up, John. You'll only rile him up, okay? Just maybe not John Larson. No Delora either. Loud colors may trigger him. We need calm. Maybe Blumenthal's the guy. Maybe he is. Maybe Blumenthal will just go, all right, Chris, calm down. Let's have something along those lines. We'll play it for you. Stand by. Let's get to some top of the hour news. John Silva, save me so I can get up out of here. We'll be back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
All right, folks, we are back. Telephone number 860-522-WTIC on this Monday on Reese on the radio. Let's get to some headlines. A Newtown man was taken into custody after allegedly punching a police officer during a routine traffic stop, escalating what began as a minor infraction. The incident unfolded when the suspect became aggressive, leading to a physical altercation that left the officer with minor injuries. Police body cam footage captured the event, which is now under review as part of an internal investigation. The suspect faces charges of assault on a public safety officer and resisting arrest, with a court appearance scheduled for later this week, probably the day before Thanksgiving. Community leaders expressed concern over rising tensions between residents and law enforcement in Newtown. The officer was treated at a local hospital and released. Authorities emphasized the importance of compliance during stops to prevent such altercations. The G20 summit in South Africa. Did anybody even know that was going on? It wrapped up without the United States, of course, following President Trump's decision to boycott the event over disputes over host policies. Leaders from other nations discussed global economic challenges, climate initiatives, and trade. But the U.S. absence was a notable gap in proceedings. Trump's administration cited concerns over unfair agendas, drawing criticism from the international partners. The boycott highlights ongoing shifts in U.S. foreign relations under the new term. Despite the snub, the summit produced agreements on debt relief for developing countries. Analysis predict this could strain alliances moving forward. The event underscores the evolving dynamics of global diplomacy in 2025, says who, for that matter. I don't listen to all these people. This story, I didn't think that I would read today, but I did. Until now, the story of the Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi murder was real simple. If you asked anyone, you might remember an exchange with ABC News and Donald Trump when the Saudi president was in town. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was solely responsible, by all accounts, for the October 2018 killing of Khashoggi, which happened inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. But the true story is far more complicated. It involves the machinations of a cover-up and a corrupt senator who received a cache of gold bars to cover up the Egyptian government's role in the murder. Yeah, that guy. None other than Gold Bar Bob Menendez. It's all covered in a new book called Gold Bar Bob, The Downfall of the Most Corrupt U.S. Senator, written by Thomas Jason Anderson. The book shows how Democrat Bob Menendez acted as a mob boss from New Jersey and played a central role in concealing the truth about one of the most horrific murders on a journalist. A permanent U.S. resident who had championed the Arab Spring, a series of popular uprisings that began in 2010, the spread through the Middle East. No one else has reported the role of Menendez, who is serving an 11-year prison sentence for bribery and other felonies, with Egyptians in the months leading up to the murder, and for years after a head of the powerful Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Even the best assessments of the Office of Director of National Intelligence offered to have failed to show evidence that MBS definitively ordered the murder. The Biden administration's ODNI report was meant to undercut the previous Trump administration's ambiguity over his role in the murder. We assessed that Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman approved an operation in Istanbul. But now we learned that Bob Menendez played a huge role in covering it up, according to the new book. And now for the stupidest thing I read today. Yeah.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was so low, but now I'm looking at it, I'm like, darn it, that thing is really, really low. My apologies for that, Roland. Stupidest thing I read today, R&B singer Lizzo. Are you familiar with her, Roland? You got to know Lizzo. Okay, so I cannot believe I'm reading this, but this is true. She wrote this. Don't put it on me, okay? Ladies, you're going to be mad at me, but I didn't write this. It's the stupidest thing I read today because she wrote it. Lizzo believes that we as a society must undo the effects of the Ozempic boom because plus-size women are being erased. She thinks that plus-size women being erased is a bad thing, ladies and gentlemen. That's what she says. Because plus-size women being erased would take away from those plus-size women being able to be in magazines and television shows. We need more of them. The 37-year-old took to Substack on Sunday to share an essay titled, "Why is Everybody Losing Weight? And What Do We Do?" Nothing. One word, Lizzo, nothing. We do nothing. Sit there, be quiet. Better yet, shut up. Nothing. She says, sincerely, a person who's lost weight, who began shredding pounds in the fall of 2023 following a very public harassment and hostile work environment scandal, confessed that the ordeal made her deeply suicidal. She would tend to binge when she was sad and depressed. But she didn't feel like doing that after her reputational fall from grace in a search for a way to process her pain through her body. Lizzo ended up taking Pilates over the summer and finally copped to trying Ozempic, a weight loss medication, of course, initially intended to treat type 2 diabetes. Early on her transformation journey, she says, I found that I had lost some weight in that process, but it wasn't as significant as it is now because it wasn't intentional, she wrote. I decided this winter to sit and record a video saying I wanted to intentionally lose weight. Why? I guess it felt that I had lost everything and I wanted to change. Lizzo decided to release herself from the weight and the energy she was carrying. And now she's saying to you fatties, don't lose weight. Don't get healthy. What will happen to the plus-size models? Is this woman brain dead? Is she just dumb? Is she just an idiot? I don't get it. Who would be this stupid? These are, I don't know. I don't know what to make of her. I don't. Speaking of other stupid things, I need to get into this now. There are a lot of people who, I guess you're desperate for news or news to react to. And it's easy, apparently, for people to start sending me messages with the idea that I am in some way, or MAGA or Republicans or conservatives are at a pearl-clutching moment because Marjorie Taylor Greene has decided to resign and leave MAGA because James Comey and Leticia James, their indictments have been pulled. I don't understand. It's like a whole bunch of people thinking that we're screaming, oh no, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she left MAGA.
Oh no.
James Comey's indictment was reversed. It's been dropped.
Oh no.
Leticia James, her indictment's been tossed.
Oh no.
And I'm sitting up here looking at you folks going, what? Marjorie Taylor Greene leaving MAGA is a big deal? I didn't know. Marjorie Taylor Greene, like the person all of you hated? Like, I'm almost certain everybody hated Marjorie Taylor Greene. People would ask me about Marjorie Taylor Greene all the time, and I'd go, nope, not a fan. They would go, really? I'll go, yeah. It's like, she's hardcore MAGA. I'm like, so? Like, I could think for myself. What do you think, that she's hardcore MAGA? And I'm just going, yeah! Didn't care. Didn't care for her. Wasn't a big fan. Didn't even take a side on the beef that she had with Jasmine Crockett and Tubbs. Didn't even take a side. And I hate Jasmine Crockett and Tubbs. And when I say hate, I mean hate. Didn't care that she was beefing. I wasn't rooting for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Go get her, MTG. Didn't care. Still don't. But you guys were definitely, you were like, oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene left.
Oh, no.
No. Don't care. You listen to these bozos. This was actually said today by the former communications director for Hakeem Jeffries. This blew my mind. This was on MS Now.
Michael, so which is it? What does her split from Trump tell us about the future of MAGA?
It tells us the MAGA coalition is collapsing. She was one of the most powerful and influential voices he had in Congress. She was with them since...
What? What? Let's play it again. Where?
Michael, so which is it? What does her split from Trump tell us about the future of MAGA?
It tells us the MAGA coalition is collapsing. She was one of the most powerful and influential voices he had in Congress.
I know all of you are just going, like, who is this bozo? A nobody. A nobody. And to show you exactly how horrible at his job is, and this is the reason why he is the former communications director for Hakeem Jeffries. Listen to what he says about Marjorie Taylor Greene and her background as it pertains to MAGA.
She was with them since the beginning in 2015, and now she has chosen to move on. And it's not.
Stop. Nobody knew who Marjorie Taylor Greene was in 2015 or in 2016. This bozo knows that Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't hit the scene until 2020, or at least he doesn't know. Marjorie Taylor Greene was not the most influential person in 2015. I didn't know who she was. You didn't know who she was. And this bozo didn't know who she was either. So he doesn't even know when she came on the scene. 2020, when she ran and won. And she won in a year that Donald Trump allegedly lost. And then he goes on to say some of the most ridiculous stuff thereafter. Remember, MAGA is fracturing. It's falling apart. Here's the reasons why. Just listen close to, again, former communications guy Michael Hardway for Hakeem Jeffries.
Not just her, even outside of Congress, you have some of the most powerful media voices on the right who have moved on from Trump. People like Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon and the racist white supremacist Nick Fuentes. Those people have all moved on because they have said they feel betrayed. And so if I'm Donald Trump, I'm wondering what this means for me and my ability to get anything done next year.
Oh, no.
These are like the stupidest people in the world. And again, I hear all these people talking about, did you hear about Marjorie Taylor Greene? I'm getting text messages on Friday night. Did you hear about Marjorie Taylor Greene? I'm just like, all right, whatever. I get, folks, with all due respect, I get it when it comes across your news screen. You know, when Jesse Waters is like, breaking news, Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to resign. So? Like, all I want to hear is just somebody explain it to me so I get it. What exactly did Marjorie Taylor Greene get done? With the exception of what? She echoed the Laken Riley bill? Like that was like her claim to fame? What else? She was a committee chair for a couple of hearings that were bombastic and loud. Okay, and? She got into floor fights with Jasmine Crockett and Tubbs and Jamal Bowman, two of the weakest Congress members, like, in the world. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene has been nothing more than, like, fodder for the left. She was ineffective at best. And in my view, she just wasn't anything that I saw was like, she wasn't getting anything done. She wasn't in king making. She wasn't knocking down any doors. Sure, she knew how to get into to get in the press. And I love the fact that the left loves her now. Loves her. Which shows that those folks don't have any credibility either. Talk about being principled individuals. Marjorie Taylor Greene says, I'm no longer backing Trump. Come on over to The View. I've got problems with Trump and the Epstein files. Come over to MSNBC. Come on over to Bill Maher's show. Oh, they love you now. Wouldn't invite you over there at any other time. What did it take? Did you do something miraculous? Did you actually get a bill passed? Did you stop a criminal? Did you dodge a bullet? Anything? No. What did she do? She said, I'm not MAGA anymore. Oh, come on over here. It's the easiest way to get press. The easiest way. I look at these things, you know, guess what? I got to look this up. Do you know who was at Dick Cheney's funeral last week? Do you know who was there? One name. Couldn't believe it, but there she was. Rachel Maddow. Think about that, folks. Why was Rachel Maddow at Dick Cheney's funeral? The man who she's always referred to as a war criminal for Iraq and Afghanistan. Abu Ghraib and all. She put that at the feet of Dick Cheney, and all of a sudden she shows up at his funeral showing him respect. Why? Because he disliked and went after Donald Trump. All of your sins. I remember that man was the devil incarnate, according to Christian Bale, who portrayed him in a film. He said, I channeled Satan in order to play Dick Cheney. And they all applauded. Christian, you're so funny. And then all he had to do, literally stroke of a pen. Don't like Trump. Oh, hero. Dick Cheney always. Fascinating man. Absolutely. That time when he shot his friend in the face, absolutely warranted. He got right in his way. I remember when he had his 5th heart attack. Remember? We were rooting for him to, well, not survive, but yeah, we were rooting. Now, all of a sudden, he is a pillar in their society. You folks don't have any credibility. Spare me. Spare me. Marjorie Taylor Greene. And now, all of a sudden, MAGA's fracturing like it was all being held together by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's not, with all due respect, folks, let's stop being desperate. You all sound a little desperate. You need a win. I get it. I know. I know what it's like. I need a win. Donald Trump is having so much success. By the way, Marjorie Taylor Greene leaves MAGA and the stock market skyrockets. Why don't you blame her for that, too? I mean, since we're at it, it's kind of embarrassing to watch. Anyway, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll take your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC. We'll talk about James Comey and the Leticia James indictments being overturned, and we'll settle that as well. Plus, we've got some programming notes coming up for tomorrow and Wednesday. And we'll fill you in on a whole bunch of other stuff. All right, so stand by. Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Hi, this is former Connecticut Governor John Rowland. Happy birthday, WTIC.
When you put that guy on there, everybody comes after me. You know that, right? Anyway, we're back. Reese on the radio. We'll get to your phone calls in a second. Who is that on hold? Did you is that Frank? Is that who that is? Anyway, we'll get to the phones in a second. So this week, we do have guests, even though it's going to be, it's Thanksgiving week. And like I said, even if you're not celebrating it and you're doing this Indigenous Day, blah, 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 have fun with your family. I don't care. I'm going to call it Thanksgiving. Please have fun with your family, okay? Don't start any fights. Go be with Nana. Go be with Pop-Pop. Go be with Auntie and Uncle. Go visit with family. They got kids there, they're all coming in. They're going to be festive. They're going to be eating. They're going to be at the kids' table. Go there and have fun. Don't take your politics off your sleeve. Take the battery off your shoulder. Go over there. Just have a good time, okay? Just do that. All right, anyway, that being said, this week we are going to have some guests. Wednesday, we've got Ben Proto on the program. And tomorrow, and we're working on it, and I think we're going to confirm it. Have you heard of Nate Simpson out of New Britain? Have you heard of him? You probably haven't. Well, you might remember that I, Reese on the radio, predicted that the rise of Mamdani was going to bring democratic socialism. What the hell? Socialism to the state of Connecticut. Well, it has in New Britain by none other than Nate Simpson, who is going to be on the program tomorrow. Very excited to be on the program tomorrow. We are trying to get him in studio. That's the goal, is to get him in here in the studio to talk to him about Democrat socialism. So maybe we'll keep him for an hour. We'll talk to him, talk about his plans for New Britain, to spread the word of socialism in the state of Connecticut. It should be grand, fun, glorious even. So stand by for that. Let's go to our poet laureate, Fred in Middletown. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good. And sure enough, I have a poem.
What do you got?
It's called God Bless America, Yogi Berra and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Okay.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is confusing, but yet intriguing.
Well, actually, I already wrote one with her that I had. Well, anyway, I'll just spit it. What's the expression, turn and burn? Well, Miss Marjorie turned, and in doing so, surely got burned like a modern-day Joan of Arc on the Verrazano Bridge. Jump, Marjorie. The water below will save you. Marjorie, before you jump, what would you say to someone who was going to lay it on the line and go to bat, as it were, for Donald Trump? 3 words, Chet. You're a chump. Marjorie Traitor Green. Well, now that shows that Trump can still turn a phrase and a knife bet your life. Notice that many of his closest associates end up behind bars, while the Donald rides off in a limousine into the sunset for a meeting with, no, not Epstein, some porn stars. Marjorie took a mighty swing in hope of clearing the bases, calling out Joe Biden's pedophilia, which tendencies she asserted were coming to the fore consequent to his advancing dementia, to leveling accusations of serious felonious fiscal crimes. By the way, did you know that Representative Green has been swatted 8 times?
Yeah.
That's right, swatted, men with guns pounding on, if not knocking down the door, one perhaps screaming, "Don't move or I'll blow your head off," while another screams, "Get on the floor." And a man with a gold commode calls this brave woman crazy. Get serious, Donnie. We're not in a bowling alley, but there are rules here. Or at least there should be. For my money, Trump is casting shade on what it means to be from Queens. As he and his new best friend, Comey, Mayor Mondani, bury the hatchet. Wait, what? Where did the hatchet go? Did your eye catch it? Mine neither. Don't trust either of these fine feathered birds, either of whom could probably sell a ball of snow to an Eskimo. It's Bolshevik meets businessman a go-go. Well, I guess there's only one thing of which one can be absolutely certain, and that is that you just never know.
You don't.
That's the Yogi Berra of it, you see?
Yeah.
One thing you can be certain of.
You just never know.
Let me drop the tail end of another poem I wrote about her, just the last sentence. Seriously, though, folks, what's not to love? I mean, even when she commits, as she frequently does, a flagrant English language error, I still say God bless Marjorie Taylor Greene and God bless Yogi Berra. Just that. That's what sold me on her, the fact that she's rocking the Yogi Berra. All right, thank you.
You got it. Thanks, boss. We don't even have to agree. I'm just saying Marjorie Taylor Greene is just... it's not even a cog in the wheel, folks. It just isn't... It just isn't. I look at this and I go, what? Like, she is not the thing that MAGA hinges on. How put it this way? Stephen Miller. Lose him, I'll say that we're belly up. That's a significant person, okay? If, Caroline Leavitt loses interest and decides out of nowhere to resign. Whoa, might be a problem. I'll go there. Now, let's go to Tom in Thomaston calling back. What do you got, Tom?
Hey, unfortunately, I wasn't able to listen for the last hour, so I didn't get a good take. Well, I think I get just by that last sentence you said about her. We're very close. I say BS on her. She's such a fraud. That was a very passive-aggressive move, quitting in the beginning of January. She could have just run out the string and go to the end of her term.
She didn't have a shot. She has alienated herself in a state that, again, you're listen, in the height of the importance of Donald Trump being in office in the 2020 election, we got Ossoff and Warnock in Georgia. There was no way Marjorie Taylor Greene was winning there. None. She has not in any way advanced her cause in the state of Georgia as a congresswoman. She just didn't. And she was all over the place. And I think, to be honest, I think the thing that really, really got to her, and I really do believe this, is when Scott Jennings said that Donald Trump told her that her polling numbers didn't look good to run for office. I think, what was she running for? Governor? Was she running for?
I think she had maybe.
Yeah, whatever she was running for was higher office, and it said it didn't look good for her. And for her, she probably thought, well, Donald Trump, if you endorse me, I'd have a shot. And I think he was saying that, look, I can't have you run for governor and you lose. it would hurt the momentum of something bigger than you, and that's Donald Trump's agenda. Now, if you're not down, like if you don't understand that he's the leader of the party and you're in it for yourself, like if you did all of that grandstanding, wearing the, showing up at the, at the State of the Union in a white fur, wearing a MAGA hat, if you did all of that grandstanding and showboating just so you can pump your name up and it wasn't for the cause, be gone with you. I tell all these people all the time, if this is about an opportunity for you to grandstand or to make a name for yourself, you were never down with the cause if you didn't recognize who the leader of the party is.
Yeah, she was like Matt Gaetz, kind of in it for herself. But did you hear, I forget who I heard this morning talking about, she's made like $25 million on trades.
Yeah. Okay.
It's crazy. And all congressmen and senators are like at a 600 plus.
Yeah, 600% increase in it. Yeah, of course. Because, listen, again, my bottom line is this. Somebody is in the chat room now. Cicero's in the chat room and says, Reese is really throwing Marjorie Taylor Greene under the bus. Okay, I'm consistent. Name the date, any date, when I was on the airwaves raving about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Never once. Anybody would ask me all the time. I was like, hey, what's your feel about Marjorie Taylor Greene and this? I was just like, I have none. I never have. She never floated my boat at all. I have no interest in MTG. You guys make her a big deal. And everybody thinks that because you make her a big deal that I should. I told everybody, if Reese isn't making a big deal about said news item, it's not a big deal. And sure enough, it fades. The story was over by Friday night.
Yeah. I'm more concerned about why should we follow the laws when congressmen and senators break them every day with their trades? Didn't Stewart, she went to jail for a $25,000 trade, right?
Right. Martha Stewart. No, she didn't even go to jail for that. She went to jail on a process crime. She lied, according to them, to investigators. It was a process crime.
About what she made. Yeah,
exactly.
But they went after her for like $25,000.
Yeah.
And these people in Congress are making hundreds of thousands.
And you know what's
and millions.
Tom, you know what the irony? You know what the irony of the Martha Stewart case is? Think about who is the prosecutor? None other than James Comey. Yeah, which will show you exactly where that is. Thanks, boss man. Go ahead, last thing. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Leticia James, how can she lied on her? Now, a lot of people do it, yeah, but she's a representative of the government. How can she get away with it and not?
She hasn't gotten away. She didn't get away with anything. Again, I always tell people, listen, the news cycle is a news cycle. Let me give you this little bit of news. There's a guy that you can trust who doesn't like Donald Trump, never voted for him, but the guy has always been fair and balanced and honest. Listen to what he said today when he was asked about Leticia James.
Well, Leticia James might be celebrating a tad too early. The problems here are not with the charges themselves, but essentially with the cop, or in this case, the prosecutor. So the court is not saying that she was innocent of these charges. The court is simply saying that the person who signed off on the charges didn't have authority to do that. So the obvious thing here is to get someone who is lawfully in a position to perform this role. Usually after 120 days, the district court appoints someone as the replacement. They're going to have to work this one out. It's rather uncharted territory here to make sure that the next person who signs is going to be beyond these types of questions. They could also appeal. You know, they're already past the original date, but the argument is that they do have a right to go back to the grand jury. So they may.
So it ain't over. Everybody's jumping on. Everybody's jumping on it. It's like they dropped the indictment. It ain't over.
All right, she's got to get.
Follow the. Just follow the process. It'll happen. Thanks. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. You cut my blood pressure down. I was riled up.
That's why you come here, Tom. Let's take a break, folks. It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Crowded with these people talking about the news in ways that just fascinate me. And I get it because it's on television. And people have a tendency to believe what they see on TV. And they see it, it's like they wouldn't do it on TV if it wasn't true. They're the ones who know. No, they're not. I want to take a moment to just talk about this because Mark and I talk about this all the time. And it's the biggest gripe that people in this business or outside of this business have. They hate us, the people who do this job, a lot of us. They do. They hate us. And rightly so, they hate us. Because some of us get here, sit in front of a microphone or in front of a camera and just read what's handed to us. Read this. Be outraged at that. This is what people are saying. You say it too. And then you talk to those people. You see them at like a party or out at the restaurant or at the grocery store, and you ask them, it's like, hey, did you know this story about this story? And it's like, no, I'd never heard of that story. And the people sit there and they go, but wait a minute, you're in the news. How do you not know? And they go, well, news is different. Like it's a different thing like that. It's not like we know everything. It's like, we get told what it is that we need. And the people are like, I thought they were, no. That's why they hate us. And I was talking to Mark about this today, and we talk about it all the time, and we go back to that same refrain. These guys won't and refuse to get out there and get the stories that people want to know about. They refuse. I know they have their own lives and stuff. They don't dedicate themselves to it, but they don't. And so when I hear these people in the chat room telling me what the news is supposed to be, I laugh. I go, poor baby. Poor baby. Spoon-fed. All of them. Spoon-fed. And they think they know something. Coming out with the same things that they saw on television and thinking it's their own. But they don't know that they've been programmed. It's sad. And they think I'm arrogant for pushing back on it. Okay. I just wish you knew. But, they'll come around. They'll come around. Let's get our first check of weather and traffic with our good friend, Mark Christopher, in the BPS Traffic Center. I'm going to ask him about some Thanksgiving stuff when he gets back. He's another foodie like Roland. I want to see what they've got on the docket today. What's going on, Mark?
The bubble-headed bleach blonde comes on and
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I wish people understood how grateful I am about the obsession with Donald Trump. I love it. Especially black libs, they're my favorite. They just are. The doublespeak, the lying, it's fantastic to watch. I love it. They trip over themselves. They make everything about Donald Trump, and it's the best. If they only knew. I almost feed into it. I'm always like, what's that thing that they do with the fireplace that makes the flame go? It's my favorite thing to do. It just is. I'm sorry. Congratulations, Russell B. He's in South Windsor, and he is today's recipient of a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, where he lives. Doesn't have far to go. Vernon and Manchester. Roseanne and I were actually at the Manchester location this winter. I went to go see them. You know AJ, Roland. That's where. That's the one that you went to when we were doing the peanut butter and jelly thing. Yeah. We went there. No, not Chris, the guy who runs the franchise in Manchester. Yeah, I went to go see it. The one you took the picture with. Yeah. So I went to go to the Manchester one. I like that location. And that's near my old home off Buckland Hills. It's like right there, at the bottom of the hill. Because I used to live up the hill on Buckland Hills, what is it, Avenue? Road? Some crap. Whatever it was. I used to live up there. So it was nice to go through the old neighborhood before I went to the Manchester Little Road Race. So anyway, if you'd like to participate, you got to go to reeseontheradio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com to enter. Enter as many times as you like. Must live in the state of Connecticut. And, you can not have won within the last 6 months of this date. Let's get a check again of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. Mark, I know that you're going to your brother's house as you do every year.
Right.
Are you doing any cooking or just cleaning?
I will
are you
be
making
doing cleaning.
a dish? You're not going to make a dish and send it over?
My wife will make a dish or two, but I will be cleaning. That's going to be my big job. Yeah, just cleaning.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try to do nothing.
No, well, nothing. Good for you. If you can get away with that.
I'm going to be guesting. That's what I'll be doing.
Good for
guesting.
you.
I got to go to Tewksbury. So
Tewksbury, Mass?
Yeah, Tewksbury, Mass. So the most I'll be doing is driving.
You'll be the chauffeur. You're the chauffeur.
Yeah.
Now, you lived on Buckland Hills Drive back in the day?
Right across the street from the Buckland Hills Mall and the Red Robin.
I lived there 93 to 96.
Damn. That was a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, man. I miss it over there. It just brought back so many memories living there.
Do you ever go skinny dipping in the pool over there?
No.
No.
Okay. No. I don't.
I got one up on you anyways.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I didn't realize my mic was on, but you always back me up and have that have it off anyway inside the studio. But I'm not going to be in here talking about people, in the Civil War. You don't have to worry about that. Hot mic. I won't be that guy. Anyway, let's get to the phones. I got so much other stuff to get into, but you guys call on the phone, and I don't want you sitting there forever because sometimes I do make you wait. Let's go to Dr. Steve. What's going on, sir?
Hey, Reese. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
I wanted to talk about Leticia James a little bit. So I agree. Well, I heard some other prior callers and yourself sort of saying it's important that she is a person who's in office. She's obviously in the legal aspect of government, and it's so important that we find out exactly what she did. And she has been accused of mortgage fraud. She has not yet
stuff that we can legitimately see, right, Doc?
Yeah,
right.
So we'll have to sort of see exactly what happened and whether she did or did not, because, again, she's in public office.
Sure.
Donald Trump, as you know, was also accused of similar types of things.
The Alvin Bragg case?
Records.
Are we talking about the Alvin Bragg 34 counts?
Exactly, and, of course, convicted by a jury of his peers unanimously. He also had the civil fraud case, where he was also found liable of making misstatements in terms of, asset values and those issues. And of course, he was also found liable for sexual abuse and defamation. But that's a separate thing, not involving business documents. So, how do we square the fact that he is also an elected official? He, unlike Leticia James, has actually been convicted of those and was found to have, 34 felony counts. How do we square our thinking about Leticia James vis-a-vis our thinking about our current president and how
I can
that's frustrating to have that? Yeah.
I'll go without going into the E. Jean Carroll thing, which I can at length go into. Because I always make the argument, make the criminal case if you can. It's not like it can't be done. I know that. But it wasn't made, but that's another story. But let's talk about, I'll start with Leticia James since we're talking about her, but not about the mortgage frauds. Let's talk about the Mar-a-Lago assessment, as it were. And I had this argument with a bunch of dumb people who thought that they knew what they were talking about when it came to this case with the $500 million judgment that was against him. I've only made one argument, is that Leticia James is under the impression that what Donald Trump did to the bank affected taxpayers, even though the banks would have been the ones who were defrauded. which I say is nonsense. Here's why. Because if Donald Trump is operating in a vacuum where Donald Trump says, hey, my property is worth, $100 million, take said assessment and give me a loan based on that. And the bank goes, okay, Donald Trump, here's the loan based upon your assessment. And then, after further evaluation, Leticia James finds out that Donald Trump's property isn't worth that, and the bank was defrauded, therefore the people were defrauded. We can say Donald Trump committed mortgage fraud or whatever, evaluation assessment fraud, whatever the nonsense was he was charged with. But who was his defense on the stand? The people he took the loan from. Donald Trump, according to them, not only gave an assessment of his property, they went out and did their job to ensure that what he was saying was true. They went there and said they didn't agree with his eval because he can get it appraised, but their eval is the one that counts because they've got the money. And they said, you say it's $100 million. We think it's more at 88, Donald Trump. Oh, no, come on, guys. Isn't it worth a little bit more? And then they negotiate. And then finally the bank goes, you know what? Here, we'll compromise at 90. Here's the loan we're willing to give you. Donald Trump takes the loan, pays it back with interest. In fact, after the fact, they give him even more loans. He's a big shark, they said, and we were eager to do more dealings with him because not only does he pay back with interest, but he's always loaning money from us, and he's a good client. Now, Leticia James goes and says, I don't like the way that Donald Trump has been doing his business, and even if he evaluated at $100 million, that in and of itself is a crime. And what did she do? She found a judge who didn't like Donald Trump either in order to, and then many people who will make this argument will say that this particular judge did exactly what a lot of people in, in the criminal justice system or in the justice system writ large, they always say that if you've got an enemy, they will take advantage of you. And that's what happened here. They didn't like Donald Trump. They had the levers of justice, and they used them against him. Everybody knew it was nonsense because guess what? When they appealed, what happened? People said this was egregious. Even Kevin O'Leary, who is a businessman who does business in New York, he made it clear. Every business owner in New York knew. Bottom line, this is the way business has gone on for over 100 years. What Leticia James was doing was going to cause businesses to flee New York if they knew they could be charged for this. Like, this is normal behavior inside the business world. But guess what? Nobody would say a thing. You want to know why? Because if you push back on Leticia James, you were called a racist. You were called a bigot. And not only that, you were also on the side of Donald Trump, who is a fascist. And you can't do business in New York and criticize Leticia James, or else you put a target on your back, too, and another judge would give her the same judgment. So people were afraid. We can't operate in a world like that, Doc. We can't at all. But people have done it. I'm dealing with a case right now in Newtown that's got very, very similar tentacles to this, similar attributes to this, because nobody wants to be called a racist and nobody wants to stand up for Donald Trump, because if you do, your name's on, got a target on your back as well. Now, let's get to the Alvin Bragg thing. Let's be honest, okay? Alvin Bragg is charging Donald Trump with a felony count on something that even the people who were in charge of those things said that there was nothing wrong with. Donald Trump never paid Stormy Daniels. He paid $130,000 to his lawyer. He called it lawyer fees. And they said, by the way, that the money that he paid was to hush an affair that he had with another woman. By the way, is that illegal? No, there's no precedent for that at all. You can pay off, if you decide to, pay off somebody that you had sex with. You can pay them off $1,000. Now, if Stormy Daniels had threatened him and said, pay me $100,000 or else, who would have been found guilty or would have been charged? Stormy Daniels would have. But the person who legally pays or knowingly or willingly pays someone to shut them up, there's no law against that. I mean, we pay prostitutes to leave. That's how that works. That's in essence what Stormy Daniels was. So when we're talking about Leticia James, documented lies, her father is her husband. Her primary residence is in Virginia. We can see the actual fraud in our faces. To compare them to Donald Trump and what happened with his business and what happened with his payment to allegedly Stormy Daniels through his attorney, who he paid for lawyers' fees, to say that those things are apples and apples is disingenuous at best and a reach by far.
That was lengthy, but that's okay. I guess my counter argument is simply I'm shocked that you're saying that Leticia James, unconfirmed, mortgage fraud.
Did she say that her father was her husband on one of the documents, Doc?
I haven't seen the document. I know that there's a lot of conspiracy theory nonsense out there. If I see the document, I'll believe it, but I have not yet seen the document, so I cannot confirm yes or no. However, I do know that Donald Trump was found by a jury of his peers of falsifying business records.
So was the Central Park Five. The Central Park Five were found guilty by a jury of their peers.
Oh, fair enough. Of course, that was 20 years ago.
No. If you're telling me that the definitive answer to any litigation or any courtroom is that they were found guilty by a jury of their peers, I would say look at every case that's ever been overturned in life. Guys who have spent 30 years in prison for crimes that they didn't commit after they found out that a jury found. I mean, if that's the case, if the jury is just a definitive line, then all of those cases that have been overturned where people have been freed after 20 years, after 30 years, after 10 years, or 15 years.
No, I agree with what you're saying. It's one of the reasons that I believe capital punishment is a scar on our country because of the very fact that you just said.
So a jury of our peers is not sacrosanct. You can agree there.
I completely agree, but it sure is convenient that we're saying a jury of his peers is wrong whenever Donald Trump is on the stand for being accused, just like it's very convenient to say, yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Well,
whenever? What were the other juries?
Fair enough. So for the civil fraud case, there's no jury, of course.
Okay, thank you. There's no, and the only jury was the Alvin Bragg case. So it's not every time it happens. In this case, Donald Trump was tried by a so-called jury of his peers on a 34-count indictment of doing the same thing. I mean, doing one thing 34 times. He paid his attorney, and now it's been considered 34 counts. And by the way, remember when people used to be outraged at the fact that O.J. Simpson, I don't know how many people were outraged at this. People treated O.J. Simpson's civil lawsuit like he was found guilty of murder. He never was found guilty of murder. But the civil lawsuit, that was made to believe that because he was found civilly to be responsible of their death, he might as well have been charged with murder. No, that is not a fair assessment, and that is not an accurate assessment. We know
I never took the deep dive on that case. But we talked previously about how the people who were responsible for the January 6th insurrection, they were found guilty by a jury of their peers.
They were found guilty of insurrection, sir?
Insurrection is not the right thing. What was it? Disorderly contact or
disorderly conduct, seditious conspiracy.
Way, I mean, the sentences that were determined were based on juries, and over 100.
No, actually, a lot of them.
Odd people. People were injured that day.
A lot of them were plea deals, and a lot of people remained locked up for a considerable amount of time before they ever saw a courtroom.
Not as long as they were supposed to be, though. I mean,
come on, man. How about this one? How about people sitting in jail for 3 years before a trial for getting into a fracas with a police officer? You think that's justified? How about guys sitting in there for 4 years for fracas with police officers?
Well, it's not just a fracas with police
officers.
No,
but never having a case adjudicated. How about never seeing inside of a courtroom to have their case adjudicated while they sat behind bars for 4 years?
I agree. That should never happen, and I don't know why that took as long as it did. But I don't think this is just a fracas with police officers. This is trying to undermine the civil transition.
You know what? I'll say this. Okay, let's put it to you this way. Exactly how did they mean to do so? by going into the building, taking tours? Because I don't remember anybody going into the halls of Congress and actually stopping anybody from doing anything.
Well, they weren't successful at stopping anyone from doing anything, but we know that there were over 100 law enforcement people who were injured that day. There was a number of PTSD-related suicides that occurred. The
suicides were related to January 6th?
Oh, 100%. I have no question about that.
Okay. Well, no, you don't have to have any question about it, Doc, but you have no verifiable evidence that it was. You just believe that it was because they seem to be very similar in scope and have proximity. We don't know the reason why anybody would commit. I mean, they were attacked if they were on January 6th, and you're telling me that because of those events, they went home and took their own lives? Everybody there was, I mean, they had support of the American people outside of those halls when those events took place. The police officers weren't considered villains there. They were celebrated. They were rewarded.
That's the thing. Those Capitol Police were assaulted by Americans. They were what a sense of betrayal to be there to actually defend the rule of law and to be assaulted, injured, to be surrounded, overwhelmed.
Hold on one second. Wait, Doc. Baltimore, Ferguson, D.C., Portland, Seattle. Those people were attacked. Police officers were attacked by American citizens, too. How many suicides did we see after that?
I don't know. I haven't looked into the statistics, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was some PTSD
you got it.
For those as well.
But you know what? It's a good point. But thank you. I appreciate the back and forth. We'll talk to you soon, Doc.
Anytime, Reese.
You got it. Let's take another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC. News Talk 1080.
I've always found the comparisons or the non-comparisons of what happened on January 6th versus riots that happen in cities across the country before January 6th. You know, I think Freddie Gray, Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, Eric Garner. There were riots everywhere, city to city. Police officers were attacked by Americans, as you heard the good doc say. You know, he believes that those officers took their lives because they were attacked by Americans. But he believes that it was a unique circumstance at the Capitol, that something about the Capitol was just somewhat anti-patriotic, and it led officers to take their own lives. In fact, there is no evidence that supports that those police officers took their lives as a result of what took place on January 6th. None. Nothing to support it. And the reason why it's such a ridiculous argument that a lot of people make, unfortunately, people keep saying, people died on 9/11. Brian Sicknick did not. Did not. And the fact that people are still spreading that nonsense, like, you know, good people on both sides, and haven't decided to do the work on their own, actually kind of saddens me. Because it's not about not knowing. It's about not wanting to know. So I did a quick deep dive. How many people, again, attacked by Americans? Because if you're saying to me, Doc, that the people on January 6th were patriotic card-carrying Americans, steak and potatoes, American freedom, folks who were attacking the police department on January 6th, well, what the hell were those yahoos in Ferguson? Like, was Michael Brown's stepfather, who was standing on a car at the announcement that Darren Wilson would not be charged, when he started stomping on the car saying, burn this mother bleeper down? Was he not American? Or is he just some black? When he pretty much, again, as his stepfather, was telling everybody, burn this mother down. Was he not American? When the people of Ferguson were showing up in front of the police department and they were calling those officers subhuman? How about the Freddie Gray riots, where they were throwing concrete slabs and cinder blocks at the police officers who were told to retreat. Were those people in Baltimore because they were black and rioting? Were they not Americans? Were police officers not being attacked by Americans? By the way, there's no reports that those police officers took their own lives as a result of being attacked by Americans. It's a nice spin, but it won't fly. It just won't. What you're trying to suggest is that there's a separate set of circumstances. When it's George Floyd, righteous. Riot's a riot. Just saying. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. We'll be back. More news, more views. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The NAACP calls him, whoa, I don't think I'm allowed to read this.
It's Reese on the radio.
Let's just say some people are not fans.
On News Talk 1080.
WTIC.
Let me take Frank real quick. He's been holding the longest here. How you doing, Big A?
Good. You know, it's funny. You were talking about O.J. Simpson. We were talking about him and Robert Blake this weekend.
Oh, yeah?
O.J. had a cut on his hand. You could explain that. Robert Blake had gunpowder on his hand.
That's right.
How did he get away with it? How do you explain gunpowder?
You know what? This is the thing that people keep forgetting about the justice system, right? The one thing that is the most confusing are what we call jury instructions. Right? And finding someone guilty beyond a reasonable doubt and understanding that the burden of proof is on the prosecutor. People do not understand that. They look at these cases in a vacuum, right? It's sort of like the case happens and then the jury hears it and they render a verdict guilty or not guilty. They don't understand. Now, I give it to the news media when they are covering a story. They do explain that the judge gives what's called jury instructions. And if they're paying attention to those things and understand the legalese behind it, they will get after the fact how they came to the verdict. That's always shocking. It's like the reasonable doubt. People forget. What was the reasonable doubt in O.J. Simpson's case? The gloves.
Right.
You okay? It's like it didn't matter whether or not they had all the evidence in the book. The fact that they allowed him to put on those gloves in front of an entire jury and the world, and it didn't fit, it didn't matter what evidence they had. The fact that it didn't fit, and Johnny Cochran comes up with what can only be described as the best line ever. If the gloves don't fit, you must acquit. It's practically the case in a nutshell.
Right. Plus, you could explain a cut on your hand, but I've never had gunpowder on my hands because I've never fired a gun.
Exactly.
But they both had one thing in common, though, O.J. and Robert Blake.
What's that?
What was that? They both married white women.
Which in your book is a sin and a crime in and of itself.
Which is a sin, especially you. You should never have gotten involved. You should have stuck with the queen. Stick with the queen.
You know what? It's so funny. I used to make fun of my friends I would do it because I'm a mean guy, and I can be a mean guy. The guys used to always tell me, it's like, what are you always dating them white women for, man? You know, your mama black. You came from a black woman. And my response to them was, I don't have that fetish. I don't want to date somebody that reminds me of my mother. You may be that kind of guy, but I want to get as far away from my mother as I possibly can.
Yeah, but Reese, the fact is, the only time that situation could work out is when the white guy marries the black woman. The other way, it ends up 90% of the time, the black man ends up getting divorced from the white woman.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you, I don't even understand that because my circumstances were different. I don't believe that anybody should be marrying for the sake of, whatever reason it is. Proximity, that's one. Never, ever marry anybody because it's convenient. That's another. I think that you should clearly be marrying for love. I've done both. I've done all three. And I think in this case, yeah.
I'll tell you this, though. I know white guys that married black women. They're still married. I know black guys that married white women. They're divorced. That's my case. That's what I know. That's what I tell you, what I see.
Okay.
It doesn't seem to work out the other way.
You should have warned them that.
I should have warned you before you did it.
I'll be fine. This time I got a Mexican wife. And I'll be honest with you, it is different. I don't know it has anything to do with the fact that she's Mexican. I do know the fact that it is because I love her to death. And I think that she's fantastic. And I love the way people take to her.
And I also heard that's the reason why you're putting a lot of weight on.
Because of her?
Well, you're happy. You've become more successful.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I try to stay off the... I'm trying. I'm just trying. I know it has everything to do with me getting old, and I like bread. I didn't even know that was a thing. I heard people talk about that forever, saying it's like, "Yo, man, I'm crazy about bread." I'm like, really, bread? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I love bread. I didn't even know it was a thing that you could actually love bread. I just thought it was just something that you put with a sandwich. But now I'm like, if there's bread, I gravitate to it. I'm not even understanding that. Someone's going to have to help me work that out. North Haven families push district to recognize Eid al-Fitr as school holiday in the spirit of equity. That's the headline from the New Haven Register. They want families to recognize Eid. Now, I got to be honest, I don't understand what's going on in our country, but I have one question to these inclusive folks. And I get why. I do. I really do understand the inclusivity thing. I just need to understand whom is it benefiting? Whom does it benefit? And maybe somebody can help me. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Because here's what I see. So you get a person who has a bit of power, influence, prestige. And maybe this person is a part of a group, an action group, a group that's politically astute and involved. They've got the names and telephone numbers of powerful people in politics, be it the school board, be it the town council, but they've got friends of a friend. You're in a small town. You meet each other. You're at the Stop and Shop. You know, you're all in the same sewing circles. I get it. And then someone comes to you with an idea. I get them all the time. Hey, Reese, you should do such and such. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Let me see, if that's something that would work on my show. But you guys get the ideas. I've got an idea. I was just at the supermarket, and I noticed that there are more and more Muslim families in my supermarket. Or I was at the laundromat, and I noticed that these people don't have a particular fabric softener that suits their particular religious needs. I'm kidding. All right, I'm off the deep end. You get what I'm saying. And that busybody, you know who you are. You've got influence. You know this person and that person. You're a Karen. What the hell? You're a Karen. You know everybody. And you're active. You are trying to change the world. You're going to put your town on your back, and you're going to save it. And then other people are going to say, yeah, you're right. I saw those people there the other day. It's a shame that they don't have such and such and such. Yeah, I just can't believe it. I'm outraged. Don't those people have someone here to support them? You know what? We should do it. We should do it. And we'll get them, we'll talk to them and see if we can help. And I get it. All of a sudden you're energized. You have purpose. Your life is probably boring. The things that you do, you're sick and tired of the same old mundane lifestyle. Husband's off at work. He's running a business, or he's at the office. He's doing it. And you're walking the dog. The kids have left. It's an empty nest. How many socks are you going to knit? You've got to get involved. I get it. I totally get it. Ladies, I am not judging you. I'm celebrating you. Trust me, I'm celebrating you. But I got to ask, who does it serve? What is the purpose? Because I'm just trying to figure out whether or not it's a good thing. And I'm trying to figure out if it's a good thing for the people you have decided it's a good thing for. When I talk to these people in these organizations, I find out that very little communication with the group they mean to serve they ever have. They don't. In fact, when they are confronted by people who say, "I'm sorry, ma'am, who asked you to do this?" they often respond by going, "Well, I thought it would be a good thing." Did you decide to take it upon yourself to speak for us? But you're not a part of our community. I mean, you're like no part of our community. Do you come to the mosque? Do you get down on your knees and pray? No, you don't. Do you come to our restaurants and purchase goods from there? Do you ever frequent our establishments? No. You're supportive in the sense that you are rabble-rousing your community on our behalf, and you didn't ask. I just want to know, folks, again, who are you serving? Like, I want you to think about that. Whom are you serving? I know this space pretty well. And I'm going to go in a realm that a lot of people who are in this will probably say, "Reese, don't do it." Look, I am a loud and proud member of AA. I just am. And, the part that everybody says, there's anonymity, I get it. But this is me, so I get to talk about it. The most important part for me in the program is being of service. It's being of service to others who are in my community. Those who need help in my community, I help. I don't go outside of that. I don't venture into places I know nothing about because I have decided for myself, I know what's best. I just want these pipe dreams of wanting things to be equitable. They make no sense in the grand scheme if you are not a part of the community. In no way. I think, and this is my view, I really do think that this is about you, not the community. I think this is about you. I think this is about bragging rights. I think this is about awards and placards. I think this is about showboating. I think this is about self-interest or self-seeking. That's what I think this is about. I don't think you give two damns about this community. I don't think you know what they eat, what they talk about, what they think. I don't think you know it all. I think you see them as we like to call the soft bigotry of low expectations. You think they don't have the power to step up for themselves, so you're going to step in and do it for them. That's what I believe. I believe I'm right. Because when you are so short-sighted that you are going to do all this effort or all this work for this individual and you don't even communicate with the community you're a part of, you don't even get their opinion, and you just take it upon yourself, I know exactly what this is about. This is about you. Jerry's in Stratford. Let's go to him. How you doing, Jerry?
Hi, Reese. I'm calling about this moral preening and virtue signaling that you're discussing, but yeah. I also time permitting, wanted to fire something off on this Comey outrage. I think there's a fair metric when we're looking at if we add new religious holidays or cultural holidays to a school calendar or to a government calendar, and that is that we look at the country where the folks came from, that are bringing the new custom with them, and we ask, is that an inclusive, pluralistic society? If we move there, would they allow our holidays? Would they allow us to would they, change their school calendar and their government office calendar to honor our days? Exactly. I believe that should always be the metric. And if not, because it seems to me that once people who talk inclusion, not the moral preeners, but those who benefit from the new way of doing things, say, look, we just want to be included. Once they get on stage, a very strange thing happens. They start kicking everybody else off the stage. Always the case. So inclusion very quickly becomes dominance. So it's since the specific one is deals with people of the Islamic faith. I just wanted to mention that Jake Tapper told this bold-faced lie on his program the other day when he said that he's talking about Mondani and Trump, but he said, hey, wait a minute. Trump had a total ban on Muslims, and yet here they are shaking hands. It's like, that's not true. Yeah, not at all. I saw that. True. The overwhelming majority of Islamic countries did not have this so-called Muslim ban, including Indonesia, the most populous one, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait. It was just the countries like Yemen and Iran that had no way of vetting who was coming in. So he got, again, just a smear, even when he's trying to sound nice. So on the Comey thing, this is a pipe dream I've had for a long time. I don't know, because you can't get rid of federal judges, although I hope they impeach Boasberg. But does Trump have the authority to reassign federal judges? Because the D.C. Circuit is the enemy of the American people. Listen, you have to go. You have to. I got to take a break, but you are 100% right on that, because I wish I had the time to go into that. Can you hold on for me? I want to talk about this a little bit more. Absolutely. You got it. Stay on the line. Let's get another check of weather and traffic with Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're going to get back to Jerry in a second. I don't want to cheat him out of the time, because what he was mentioning in D.C. or Virginia, for that matter, which is nothing more than a D.C. suburb when it comes to these criminal cases, is some of the most crazy stuff that goes on there. If you want to see a corrupt criminal justice system at all on the federal level, it's right there. I mean, that's the belly of the beast. It's called the swamp for a reason. And the point that Jerry was making, and I'll let him make it on his own, is the fact that everybody knows. It's like it's an open secret. When people see individuals get either acquitted or, there's a hung jury in a case, you will listen to these rabble-rousers lose their mind. The criminal justice system is corrupt. The criminal justice system is biased. We need to do this. Look at the Supreme Court right now. What are they talking about? They're talking about, filling up the court with as many liberals as they possibly can. Right? Not knowing that even if they do, that could very well backfire on them. But why? Oh, because there's a conservative majority. Oh, we got to fill the courts. It's absolutely corrupt. As soon as Roe v. Wade was overturned, what happened? We're going to defy the Supreme Court. The court system is illegitimate. All day, every day. And then a ruling like this comes down, and everybody's like, criminal justice system, it's right on track. See? They didn't rely. I'm like, come on, folks. Let's have an ounce of integrity here. I had one person text me talking about, put this one in your pipe and smoke it. And then says, I have no dog in the race. It's the part that makes me laugh. I said this when James Comey got fired the first time. People were online, or as they like to call them, Black Twitter. The African American community was online screaming about James Comey being fired. And I just put in one post that put everybody, just shut everybody up. And I said, wow, it's incredible to see the black community standing up for the cops. And everybody just froze. Nope. Want no parts of that. It's incredible to watch. Let's take another check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. Let me get back to Jerry, who was making a very, very good point about and I'm assuming, Jerry, you're talking about the Virginia federal court, right?
Well, yes, you're correct. This particular case wasn't the D.C. Circuit, but I think my thinking on this is when people talk about liberal courts, I say, okay, that would be the Ninth Circuit,
right?
Maybe some crazy, but the D.C. Circuit and now by extension this Eastern Virginia Circuit,
right?
They defend the deep state against the citizens of this country. So this was a ruling, in my opinion, that was out there to defend government power to crush citizens. That's what this was. So remember, Comey was in some speaking gigs, some public speaking, and he was laughing and smirking about setting up General Flynn. I mean, if that's not abuse of power, that should have him handcuffed and let off the stage for how he used his power to get someone, and he did it in a dishonest fashion, and he was cavalier about how rotten he was, what a scoundrel he was. It's frustrating, but beyond all this, just have some sort of random redistribution of federal judges. They keep their judgeships, but they have to. We cannot have these centers, especially the D.C. Circuit, and then maybe also Eastern Virginia, that are just. It's where the rights of citizens go to die.
You're so right about that.
You've read, I mean, some of the even Republican appointees on that D.C. Circuit, they're like writing opinion pieces and editorials about how much they hate Trump's guts.
Right. Yeah, and it's it's a weird place because they end up in the pages of the Washington Post or the New York Times. And the worst part is that the same swamp, or the media swamp that is, they just openly talk about it. And it was like, oh, this great article in the New York, the Washington Post about such and such, judge who very well may be seeing some cases come before his courtroom talking about or admonishing the administration, which lets you know ahead of time. It's just telegraphing. Yeah, if this guy brings anything to my courtroom, you can forget about ever prosecuting it.
Well, this guy Boasberg.
Yeah, perfect example.
When Trump was indicted on front of that Judge Chutkin, however you pronounce her name, insurrection charges, Boasberg and another Obama or Democrat appointee came in on their day off to sit in the gallery and watch this go down. How can you do something like that and then with a straight face say you're an impartial judge? You're not. And to me, that was like, this guy comes in to mock the president while he's being indicted.
Yeah.
This is how he finds sport. Get this man off the bench. He shouldn't be nowhere near anything that has to do with being an umpire in a legal sense of calling balls and strikes fairly. So I give credit in a negative sense to Obama. He stuffed the D.C. Circuit with his appointees.
Right.
So the Supreme Court can't take every case. So that is where the rights, in my opinion, of citizens go to die.
Yeah. It's an interesting dynamic in the sense of, what do you do for justice to be served? And I think a huge part of what you're talking about, which again, I think it's probably more egregious. It's not just so much about the fact that, as you put it, where justice goes to die. But the other part about it is that it's in a town where most people have argued and made complaints about the fact that the justice system is indeed unjust. And they watch this happen in plain view and do nothing about it. When it goes against Trump or goes against conservatives, they sit there and they celebrate it and brag about it. And not one person steps up and says, yeah, this is the thing we are complaining about. We shouldn't be cheering it on.
Well, one last note about Leticia James, and that is that she is not only, she's publicly said she's campaigning, vote for me, I'll get Trump and all that, but she's also gone after a lot of other conservative groups in New York State. And why I have a problem with the Republican Party is just as the Senate hadn't passed this attorney, hadn't taken the vote on her yet.
Right.
In the same way, there's not a single Republican in Albany calling for the impeachment of Leticia James, not for housing scandals, but for her abuse of power.
Right.
Her publicly saying and doing, using her power to get enemies, not just Trump, but anybody, a lot of people right of center. And it's their silence allows this to go on. They should have been screaming every day. Take a page from the left. Fight all the time. Make a stink about things, even if you don't win the battle.
Fight all the time. Let them know that you're going to fight all the time.
Right. That's because they just, it's at one point in time, the governor of New York said to say, oh, no, we're not, Republicans are welcome in our state, that, please don't move your business elsewhere because we're not going to get all of you.
Yeah.
Because they changed that statute of limitation law to get one man.
Yeah.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, indeed.
So it's so anyway, there's a lot. This stinks to the high heavens with Comey. And before we start adding new holidays, it's a very simple question to ask. Hey, would we be welcome in your country?
Exactly.
Would the things we honor be honored by your society?
Exactly.
And
that should always be the litmus test. That's my litmus test number one when it comes to adding new religions to our country.
Very good. Well, thank you for the time, sir.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you. Yeah, that's always going to be my issue. Nobody listens to me when I say it. People say that you're not being inclusive. Neither are they. I was having a conversation today about somebody from Jamaica sending me a story about how you're not Christian if you don't accept immigrants. And I went, it doesn't say in the scripture that we should accept illegal ones, just as immigrants. I would assume that the immigrant you're talking about is legal. It doesn't say accept illegal ones. It says accept immigrants, which we do. We take in more immigrants than any other country. Oh, in fact, all countries combined. We take more in per year than all countries combined. You want to know why? Because this individual who comes from Jamaica, it turns out there is no amnesty in Jamaica. Overstay your visa, you're gone. Overstay your work permit, gone. There's no such thing. You're Audi 5000 if you overstay. The first thing I said was, don't come at me with the nonsense about who we kick out of the country. Fix your own. Why can't people stay in Jamaica? Why can't people stay in other Christian countries? Christian countries across the globe have strict immigration. You want to make it a Christian issue? I can name a few. Hungary, Poland, strong Christian nations. How do they feel about them? No, ask Poland. Ask Poland. To zero tolerance. You can't get there. It's an overwhelming Christian nation. Poland was on BBC or one of those, I think it was Sky News or one of those places. It says, we don't care if you call us racist. No immigrants in our country illegally. None. Yeah, whatever. Don't you think that's bias? What is your problem with people coming from North Africa? No. People will say that you're prejudiced. So what? Don't you think you should be an inclusive? No. And that's the way that people should be. You have to look. I'm sorry. It's sort of like I want to treat my country like a father would his teenage daughter. Hey, I'd like to date you. No, absolutely not. What are your intentions? Do you know how old she is? No, absolutely not. She's not ready to date. That's the way we should feel about our country, protected like you would her. All that other nonsense. I love the way that people are screaming and hollering about why we should let them in. Who's going to pick our vegetables? You! You are. You so concerned about the food on our table? You go pick it. You so concerned about our homes being built? You go build them. Who's going to? You! That's who's going to do it. I notice that they care so much about all of us. These people put the food on our table. Why don't you now? They're not here. Why don't you pick up some? Never see these people picking up a ladle. Never once. Got all the talking points in the book. Never see them volunteer. I was telling people the other day, if complaining took effort, these people wouldn't do it because they're bums. If you had to run a lap in order to make one complaint, these people would never complain. If it actually took effort, they wouldn't do it. It's easy. It's lazy. Bums. Bunch of bums, I tell you. Jeff is in Marlboro. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing all right, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, it's been a while. You coming back with more controversy?
No, not this time, buddy.
What do you got?
Yeah, so I think the question earlier was who benefits from a new holiday?
Yes, exactly. Who does?
Okay, so and keep in mind, I'm not bashing teachers. My mother was a second grade teacher. Okay.
Okay.
Teachers, I mean, they only work like 8 months out of the year as it is. You know, you get that big break in the summer. You get several weeks, winter and spring break.
Yep.
And vacation time and sick time worked in. Now another holiday. I mean, I don't know who's pushing for this, but I imagine teachers unions probably.
I would imagine so. I think you're right on point. It's just another paid holiday.
Yeah, and I mean, you end up working 8 months of the year. I'd love that schedule, boy.
It's so funny because teachers always tell me, it's like, oh, we take on jobs during the summer months. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Like some of them will take on summer school and all that other bit. I'm like, okay, fine. That's fine. If you want to work a second job, you work a second job. But you're right. You're 100% right. They would be the only people who were benefiting from this. And they say it's the spirit of equity. Jeff, I got to be honest with you. I would like them to stop the spirit of equity and do things in the spirit of education. Like, I'd like to be in the spirit of higher test scores.
I think, another day off, I think, is the last thing our kids need,
Exactly. I wanted to be in the spirit of higher graduation rates. That would be another. Want to be in the spirit of something, I would be in the spirit of valedictorians.
And real graduation, not just handing them a ticket because they aged out, just
right.
Yeah.
Not the what's her name? Alicia Ortiz graduation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like real graduation, not showing up at your college dorm to find out you can't read the name on the college. Like that. I want a real graduation. It's these people, and it's New Haven.
Yeah, hey, speaking of graduations, you just brought to mind a subject you were talking about quite a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever became of that case in Hartford of I believe it was either superintendent or
nothing. The story died. I couldn't even get in touch with her afterwards. She went into hiding. It's over. We moved on to it, and now we've got another story that's involved in that. In fact, that's probably even more scandalous than the one that we were dealing with then. So we'll get to the bottom of that next year. That's only a month away.
Right? She quit, right?
Yes, she did. Yeah, she's out. And you talk about the superintendent? Yeah, she's long gone.
Yeah.
And now we got another equity hire in her place.
Yeah, I never heard heads or tails at the end of that story, but you just made me think of it talking about education and everything.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff dealing with that education. In fact, we got another story we're dealing with we're going to get to the bottom of, and it's just when we start reporting on it, it's going to be on social media as well, and we've got a whole documentary that we're putting together on it as well in Newtown. So stand by for that.
I'm looking forward to it. I guess you asked me for some controversy, so here it comes.
What you got?
The story I was just asking you about. Let's get to the bottom of that bad boy.
What do you mean about the bottom of what? The Hartford story?
Yeah, I mean, anybody who can do their research, I know it's you. I know you can come up with it.
Let's just say that I did do my research on it, and there is nothing that's going to come of it. Let's just put it that way.
Man.
Nothing.
It was just such an interesting story, and then it went.
I know, exactly. It went cold because she decided to make it go cold, and there was nothing I could do about it. I got everyone. When I say I got the media on this, I got everybody from Hearst to the Blaze. Everybody was on this story, and she just went cold, and it just killed the story.
Yeah, well, sort of like we were talking about earlier, they don't want to report news, or they want to just read it. Read it.
Stand by, because the little Manchester road race that I went to on Saturday, I'm going to tell you what happened there with regards to Fox 61 when we return. So stand by for that.
All right, man. Thanks, Reese.
You got it, boss. Good hearing from Jeff again. We'll get to Sean in a little bit as well, so stand by for that. Let's get another check of traffic and weather with Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
By the way, make sure you check out the Odyssey app or go to WTIC.com or ReeseOnRadio.com. We're back on today to find out anything you missed from the show. We began the show today to talk about how we could do something for young people who want to get into media, radio in particular. I believe that we have a job to get the next generation into our radio stations. And it is, I believe, a medium that is at risk of losing that audience, or in many cases not reaching them when they can. And if there are, schools out there that are teaching media, that's teaching broadcasting or journalism for that matter, kids who want to be writers, talk about the time that they are living in, they have a particular perspective on it. I want to see if we could get something going where we could get a school and their journalism class or their media class to come in and to do a couple of segments on the program. We can interview them, talk about the stories that matter to them, how they talk or think about the things that are happening in their world. I know that a lot of kids have a view on immigration because a lot of their friends and students are involved in that. It'd be a great opportunity to talk to them. And I think it would spark an interest in the next generation joining us here inside the broadcast booth. So I think that's important. So what you should do is go to the Odyssey app or go to WTIC.com to find out how you can get the Odyssey app, and you can find out what had happened was. Plus, the podcast is there, and you can go to ReeseOnRadio.com so you can talk to me, send me a message, or get the Between Rounds or join the Between Rounds bagel contest as well. That's pretty much all. In a second, I will tell you about my interaction with Fox 61 at the Little Manchester Road Race. I'm trying to have a conversation with members of the news media when I can, and this was an opportunity to do that. So I'll tell you about that on the other side. Plus, we'll take your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Mark Christopher's getting you home because you're almost getting there. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Lori said something in the chat room. She said the judicial system needs to be flushed. Another swamp of activists in black robes. Nothing close to impartiality. Indeed, true, Lori. It's again, like I said, these people see the corruption right in front of them. It's just going, that doesn't make any sense. And then when it doesn't go their way, like it'll be, like a Freddie Gray thing or, Michael Brown thing, it doesn't go their way. It's just like, the darn judicial system is corrupt. I'm like, yeah, and now it matters, right? So, I don't know. That's what you get. Before let me get to the last phone calls. So I'm at the Little Manchester Road Race, and the kids there forget about it. I mean, everybody's wearing their yellow shirts. WTIC, brilliant idea to bring in sweatbands, about 2,000 yellow sweatbands, which for some odd reason the kids are into. I talked to this one kid, 16 years old, and he, big kid, tall kid, walks up to get a sweatband. I said, listen, before I give it to you, you got to explain to me. Like, what's the thing with the sweatbands in your generation? He was like, I don't know, man, but everybody's got one. And I'm like, it was brilliant on, sales and Janine. It was just a brilliant idea. Every kid wanted one, and they were just coming to get as many as they. Can I give one to my grandson? My granddaughter, too. I mean, people were lying about how many kids they had. They were. And plus, I want to thank everybody that came out to say hello. I'll get to who it was tomorrow. I'm going to show them some love independently. They were great. So we were getting ready to close out. I bumped into the folks over at Fox 61. And someone had told me they were there, and I didn't know where they were. But they pointed them out. And I went, oh, Fox 61 is here. Let me go talk to them. And I did. Tim Litow, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He was there. And I went to go introduce myself to him. And, of course, they didn't know who I was. TV people, they have no respect for the radio folks. They just don't. We share the same call letters. Did you know that, Roland? We share the same call letters over at Fox 61. They have no relation to us. They share the same call letters. Anyway, so I introduced myself. They have no idea who I am. I barely know who Tim is. But I've seen him. Anyway, so we start talking, and I'm like, look, I want to develop a relationship. We cover a lot of stories we know you guys can't cover or don't cover. But, you guys may want some of the stuff that we have, some scoops that we have. And Tim, of course, was interested. What are you talking about? Start throwing a couple of stories out that I know he knows about. And you know what I got a lot of? I got a lot of this. Really? I didn't know that. Stories he's covered. Really? I didn't know that. And I get it. It's drive-by media. It's quick, fast, in a hurry. It's fast food. That's all. And I get it. But I saw the eagerness in his eyes. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Especially when I told him about the Dick Blumenthal $100 million thing. I was like, hey, you remember the hydrilla thing. He was like, yeah, of course. I said, he asked for $100 million? No. It's like, yeah. So it was just like, wow. Imagine, again, folks, I know you don't know this. You keep saying to yourself every day, don't these guys know the news? That depends. It does. But it's not about informing you of the news. I mean, the stuff that's important to you, of course, it's weather, it's traffic. I get it. That's, of course, Mark Christopher, staple. But if you're going there, and I hear these people coming to me all the time, it's like, why aren't they coming? It's really not their bag. It's really not their bag. And it's not up to them. It isn't. So we'll develop a relationship. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if they're interested in the stories that matter to you. But if I can, I'd like to say something to you. And I know you're about to get home, and you guys are ending your drive. But let me try something here. The stories that matter, we don't have to leave to them. You have them right here on this network, WTIC. That's what we're here to do the things that they're not doing. If you don't get it from Brian, if you don't get it from the top of the hour news, that's okay. But you got me. But we're going to make sure. I talk to the news guys every day. I walk in. I ask the guys, hey, did you guys see this story? Hey, did you guys hear about that story? And sure enough, they do. Morgan Cunningham, John Silver, Dave Mager, I talk to them every day. And usually if I talk to someone, They will jump on that story. There's a new energy in the building. New energy in the building. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. We can be your go-to news. We can be your go-to information. That's our intent. Tell your friends. Seriously, tell your friends. Because I'm going to be on the ground and I'm going to be everywhere. You can damn well bet. That's what I'm going to do. Now, let's get to the phones. Sean's in Meriden. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I think what you just said was absolutely fantastic in that we need more people to like be on the ground and active and interact and stuff like that because Connecticut has gone so blue since I first got here 40 years ago. It's blown my mind. and it's like I want to pull my hair out, which little hair I have left. But just quick points. Number one, about the teachers' extra day off. Until you start educating our kids, you don't need another day off. Okay? You don't need another day off for nothing because you're not educating our kids and they graduate. And I worked with Prince Tech High School. I worked with Weaver High School in Hartford, several high schools in Hartford, and they were doing social promotions.
Yeah.
And kids were graduating, couldn't read, like all the facts we're finding out now. And then I started working with them. I'm like, no. It's not going to help you. It makes your life easier, but let me tell you, down the road, it's going to make your life harder. So it's worth doing the work now, get it out of the way, then you're in the driver's seat. So that's one thing. The other point I want to make, for the judges who are like being radical, because like one of the things, the Leticia James and Guacamole getting off, okay, you need to have term limits for judges under the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
because if you wrote in laws where you have either you have term limits, length of time. If you do it for the president, why wouldn't you do it for judges? I mean,
I don't understand the lifetime appointments either. I'm with you on that one.
All right. So I'm like, if you did that, then suddenly your accountability and the laws that you make and the laws that you pass and the things that you tolerate suddenly come back to bite you in the hiney. You're going to change how you do things.
Yeah, because you know what? It's a great point you're bringing up, Sean, for this purpose. What do people on the left say? They believe that the Constitution is interchangeable. They believe it's a living and breathing document that can change in any given moment, right? So if the times change, right? What do they say about the Second Amendment? So times have changed. The guns are different. It's not the same law. We need to amend it. Well, you know what? It should be the same case when it comes to the judges. They shouldn't have a lifetime appointment. We should be able to adapt those judges so that we can adapt to the laws of the land in the time frame that we're in.
And for every job that you're in, you have like an approval rating. Like if I really suck at my job, eventually I'm going to lose my job.
Yeah.
Okay. But for judges, if you have a lifetime appointment, you know dang well you can suck, you can make stupid decisions, you can get appealed up to yin yang. You ain't going nowhere, and your money's guaranteed.
Yep. Indeed.
And that would be a problem. My last thing is, one of the things that you mentioned about getting more people into radio and into the media.
Yes.
But it's a discouragement, and I've learned this a lot through your program, more through your program and Newsmax and more conservative radio and stuff like that. If you know it's 90-10 liberal to conservative or Republican, you kind of limit what why would I set myself up to take a beating for the rest of my life?
I would say that, look, that's the kind of challenge we need these young people to have, because I need them to be able to adapt in insurmountable odds and to not give up. I would rather them be in a situation that was where they were 10 fighting against the 90, because to be honest with you, as somebody said earlier, the libs on an 80-20 issue, when they're on the 20, they still fight us. There's no give on them. Let me take one more. Thank you, boss. I appreciate you. Let's go to Dave in Brantford. How are you, sir?
Yeah, how are you, Reese? 3 subjects. I promise to work quick if you'll allow me.
I think you can.
On the holidays, I notice when we get the calendars, it's the mail season for calendars. They send them out. all the politically oriented calendars like Sierra Club or Earth Justice or PETA, they don't even list Columbus Day anymore.
Wow.
And all the ones that I'd consider wholesome American, like Boy Scouts or DAV or just, classic cars, they all list Columbus Day. And so that's a holiday that went away when, you were implying all we do is add.
Yeah.
Some people are trying to take them away. Over the weekend, New Haven Register, there was a story about the Firearms Board in Connecticut faces a 1,200 case backlog.
Yeah.
And this is for people either appealing the denial of a pistol permit or maybe in a domestic dispute.
Yeah.
They got their permit taken away and they'd like to get it back. This is a civil right, the Second Amendment.
That's right.
It is intolerable that people are waiting months or years for this to be reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
And in this ridiculous blue state, can you imagine when you have same-day sign-up to register to vote? What's the rush to sign up on one day to vote?
Dave, let me interject on one thing that you said about the gun thing. Trey Gowdy had one of the greatest lines ever talking to a woman about gun rights in this country. And he said to her, she didn't even understand the question, but it was a brilliant question nonetheless. He said, name a Bill of Rights that you have to petition the government to exercise outside of the Second Amendment.
Or to pay for,
yeah.
to exercise it, to get that permit.
Yeah.
You have to take a class. And the last thing is, this is kind of like a trophy on your wall. You might know more about it than I do. Hearst Publication opinion page writer Fred McKinney, about 3 months ago, wrote a ridiculous story about black separatism. He wanted his reparations.
Yes, it was the one that caused him to be on our show.
And you arranged to have him on your show, and he called you the N-word at least once, maybe several times.
It was 3 times.
I don't believe I've read an opinion piece by him in the paper since. Did he get dumped because of what he did on your show? Do you know anything about that?
I do not, and it may have happened silently, but you know what? We will look into it.
Congratulations on hammering that pelt up on your wall.
Much appreciated, sir. You got it.
Bye.
Absolutely. Christine, I'm sorry. I got to get out of here. I'm probably not going to do you any justice. Christine, I did see the Project Veritas piece. I promise you I will get to that tomorrow. FYI, folks, tomorrow we're supposed to have Nate Simpson on. I just contacted his publicist or his people. They're supposed to be arranging for him to be on tomorrow in studio at 4 o'clock. He is, I think, Connecticut's first elected socialist ever in history. He's going to be in the studio tomorrow, so we will talk to him. Hopefully, I'm going to try to reach Hillary again and see if we can get him on the program. And also on Wednesday, we have Ben Proto. Tomorrow, I'm going to be going to American Waste. As just an aside, I'll be talking to you about that. It is called All American Waste. You guys might remember they sent an email here complaining about my conversation with you about recycling and how it's not happening and how it's being shipped overseas. Well, All American Waste wants to stand up for themselves to prove to me, or to show me for that matter, exactly the recycling that they are doing. I'm going to be there tomorrow at 9 a.m. to go see their facilities in Meriden, I believe. I'm going to go down there to their offices to go hang out with them. I do understand that they are listeners of the program, and I appreciate that. Your patronage means everything. So I'll go down there, and I'll be telling you about my visit tomorrow. So stand by for that. Like I said, I love it when this show motivates people to participate. It's a great thing. So I'm going to be down there taking a tour at All American Waste. That ought to be fun. I think, I'm going to be there at 9 o'clock. Yeah, okay. What else? I think that's it. Ben Proto, Nate Simpson, Thanksgiving's coming up. Salvation Army's got some shirts coming that I'm going to be wearing. Oh, and we got to work on the video aspect of the show at the holiday store. We haven't figured that out yet. That's going to be interesting. We'll figure it out somehow. All right, folks, as I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You Have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here next time. Mark Christopher's getting you home.
All right.
He's
quick
in the BPS.
lesson.
Yes, go ahead. We'll go ahead.
No, you can say BPS. Go ahead.
Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Yeah.
A quick thing on the WTIC call letters, Fox 61.
Yeah.
Now, originally it was WTIC AM and FM and WTIC TV when the Travelers owned them. And then when Travelers sold the radio and television off, WTIC switched over to WFSB, which it is now in post-Newsweek Channel 3. And then our former owner, the Chase family, David Chase's son Arnold, started Fox 61, and then he took the WTIC call letters and made them for Fox 61. So that's how that's how Fox 61 became WTIC TV. I don't know, was it 89, 90, somewhere in that time period? That's when Arnold started WTIC
and it
television.
Sucks because there's no relation, huh?
No, well, the only common factor is Arnold's family owned WTIC AM and FM.
Oh.
And then when they sold in 96, but then Arnold started WTIC television. And at one time, the Chase family owned the most Fox affiliates in the country when they first started. Yeah, it was pretty impressive.